Yeah, my apologies. This is, in fact, the men's pair without Cox, the Bob Nygard Trophy. In lane 1, Fairfield. Lane 2, Rollins. Lane 3, Iona. In lane 4, Fordham. Lane 5, Jacksonville. And in lane 6, Lafayette. So a little bit of steering issues there off the start. We'll see if these guys can correct that as the race goes on.
Well, you know, a little bit of NASCAR action there. If you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. So, you know, let's see if these guys can figure this out. We don't want anybody to flip, but, you know, it does make for a little bit of excitement.
So in lane 3 there is Iona. They won their heat with a time of 7:33, their semifinal, over Jacksonville in lane 5 there by a good margin, about 32 seconds there. The second semifinal was slightly more competitive with Fordham, who's in lane 4 finishing at 7:47, Rollins in lane 2, 7:56. And then Lafayette 7:58 behind them. So Lafayette out there in lane 6. Look for them to be competitive for a medal. Meanwhile, we look for, whether or not we can't see Iona start to move away from Fordham and Rollins here.
Yeah, and in these small boats, the race is long, right? So you're not going as fast, and you have to be able, you have more time to recover from a mistake. One thing that's really tough in the pair is this steering, and we can see that Fordham is having a bit of an issue bouncing from one side of the lane to the other side of the lane. And in these small boats, you want to minimize that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because Fordham does look like a pretty fast crew out here. They're still maintaining contact with our leaders despite those steering issues being pretty prevalent for them throughout that first 500.
Yeah, it looks like Iona and Rollins are really sort of, the question is, can they take advantage of that? Can they put a little bit of distance, between them and Fordham? It looks like Fordham is still staying strong, as you said, still making headway, still making progress. But the question, once again, is will those steering issues impact the outcome?
Yeah, so as they approach 750 meters into the race, we're going to go Iona followed by Rollins. Fordham is in 3rd, Lafayette in 4th, Fairfield in 5th, and Jacksonville in 6th at the moment, approaching the halfway point here in the Bob Nygard Cup, the men's pair without Cox.
Yeah, and like one of the issues I'm seeing here in that Fordham boat is if you look at the bow, he's skying just a little bit, not able to get sort of now he's back in it. He was get a little bit of skying, that oar is coming up instead of going directly in. If you look at the stroke seat of this Iona boat, that oar just goes right in. There's a little bit of a tulip on each side. The splash comes up, and that's, the sign that they're getting on the oar and applying pressure.
Yeah, so Fordham looking, you saw the bow seat kind of looking over there at the Rollins crew. They raced yesterday in their semifinal, and Fordham beat them by a pretty good margin. So they have to be asking themselves a few questions right now about whether or not they think they have it in them to go back and overtake Rollins. There's still a lot of time left in this race as they approach 1,000 meters down.
Yeah, Iona is looking good. They're rowing a little bit higher than everyone else in this race. It looks like Rollins is doing a great job of just maintaining their rhythm, maintaining their pace, trying not to let Iona slip away. And then out in lane 1, Fairfield, you can see here in this shot, not out of it, but they're going to have to make a move soon if they want to sort of get into the challenge.
Yeah, so Iona looking really strong here, moving into their 3rd 500, and here we have a nice shot to see how it's breaking down. And Fordham looks like they've fallen back now into potentially even 5th place. They're definitely behind Lafayette in lane 6, and check out Fairfield in lane 1 looking strong right now.
Yeah, I got to imagine that they're having some type of steering issues because they've been going back and forth, and when we saw them race yesterday, they definitely didn't seem to have as many problems with the steering. And this goes to show there's so many things that can happen within the race. All you can control is how you stay in the boat and how you execute your race plan. But inevitably you may have outside factors affect your race.
Yeah, meanwhile, look at the course that Iona's cutting down the race course right now. They did just slightly adjust there, but for the most part, it's very minor adjustments they're making, and you can see it in the wake that they're leaving behind, a really straight course. When you look at some of the other boats, there's a little bit more of a sinuous nature to their wakes. Iona looking really strong.
Yeah, one of the tricks I used to use when I was training in the pair was to row without a tow when we weren't racing, and we could row down straight courses, and that really gives you, that means that everyone in the boat is focused on making sure that that boat is going straight, and those are some of the the tricks that you use to try to get yourself going straight. And in a race you want that tow because you might have to make quick decisions, but you don't want to have to depend on it.
Yeah, especially because the tow and coxswains as well have to be careful in boats when they make adjustments. It can adjust the affect the set of the boat, maybe make you miss some water if they do it a little bit too haphazardly.
And what's going on out there in lane 6?
Yeah, Lafayette looking really good here, trying to lead the charge here to overtake Rollins in lane 2.
Yeah, and so this is it, coming up into the final meters of this race. The question is, Iona has really dominated this race, but can any of the crews put themselves in a place where they can take the silver medal?
Yeah, Iona looking to go unchallenged here in the final 500. They don't look too worried. They're rowing at a really nice swing, as we've talked about, and not too much worry for them. They can row a mistake-free race and cruise into the gold.
Yeah, and here we are in that last 250 for Iona. We have Lafayette out rowing up high. They brought that rating up here, and they're really trying to apply some pressure. It looks like Fordham may have gotten their swing back and are trying to really, insert themselves into that question of who's going to be on the podium.
Yeah, so Rollins was in second for most of this race, something that we had seen. It looks like Fordham has gotten their act together a little bit here and might be able to make a late push, but Lafayette looking strong out of lane 6.
Yeah, they're really moving together. They really have that boat moving. You can see there's a little bit of check, a little splash on that one. Maybe they hit a buoy. This is the time when that rating is high that you have to be really technically, you have to execute very well.
Yeah, so as we come here in the Bob Nygaard Cup to the end, Iona takes gold in the men's pair event. And we'll stay on this camera right here. We shouldn't have to wait too long to see how it plays out.
Oh, Fordham.
Man, Fordham crabs at the end, but crosses for the silver, Lafayette the bronze, and a disappointing fourth there.
You could see that. You could see that man, oh man, as he slaps the boat there from Rollins.
Yeah, Rollins finishes in fourth, and they were a bit upset about missing the podium. Fairfield fifth, and then Jacksonville with a strong finish in sixth.